Boom. It's falling Yeshua. Welcome to the Rock. Answering another question and some statements. And the question is, falling Yeshua, I'm not really happy with where my life is going, the direction it's going in. And every time I don't know, get myself ready to make a move that I know I need to make, I am inundated with the what if. What if this happens and what if that happens? You know, how can you help me? And I find these questions really interesting. Really interesting because the life that you're living right now, you already can see that you're not happy with it. Now, first and foremost, from reading the book and living the book, being the Bible, keeping the commandments of Yah and following in His paths is where you'll find your happiness. Doing what the book said. And not worrying about what everybody else is going to think about it, because I've noticed a lot of people are unhappy and a lot of people have the what ifs not based on their own thoughts, but based on what everybody else tells them. What if this happens? Or what if that happens? What if this happens? Or what if that happens? What if you move out there and a tornado happens? I'm like, well, what if I stay here in California and an earthquake happens? Well, what if you go out there and you run out of money? Well, what if I stay in California and run out of money? Well, what if you go out there and there's coyotes? Well, what if I stay in California and there's gunshots and bullets flying through my apartment? Which is actually what happened. What if you take your children out there and they get, bit by a poisonous spider? Are poisonous spiders only out here? Because I sure swore I had black widows when I was in California. And that what if just inundates them, and that fear inundates them. And my answer to those people is, hey, just stay where you are then. Stay where you are. Continue to live exactly what you've been living. You know what the outcome of that is, because that's why you're saying you're unhappy. So you're looking ahead and saying the outcome of what I'm living is not going to be good. I'm going to be miserable, in fact. And you let all this anxiety and all these fears come in. I read the book and I look at my ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I look at when y'all told them to go, they just went. They didn't sit back and say, well, what if this and what if and what if and what if and what if? They went and they did it. And anytime the fears came in, is usually when bad decisions were made. For instance, when, Abraham was going into the land of the Philistines and the land of Egypt, and he told Sarah to tell everybody else, hey, you're my sister, which was actually true. But he was fearful. They're going to see you're beautiful, and then they're going to try and kill me to take you, yada, 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 yada. And Yah had his protection on Abraham the whole time, which is why in both situations, Yah, basically let the king know, hey, you touch her, I'm going to wipe you out. I mean, he closed up the wombs of the women in one of the situations because the king had brought Sarah into his house. And they didn't do anything, but he brought her into the house. And the man was tormented by a dream, and, an angel with a sword was before him. So Yah already had the provisions made for Abraham. But it was those fears. Not Sarah obeyed. And that's one thing you women got to understand. Sarah obeyed Abraham. I'll obey him if he's always right and if he does the right thing. Sarah obeyed Abraham. I mean, it even says that in 1 Peter 3, calling him master. She obeyed Abraham, calling him master. She didn't say, well, I don't think, and I ain't doing that. Whole nother video. When you're talking about these fears, the fears are what cause people to make the bad decisions. The fears what causes people to stay. The what ifs. I'm not saying you don't, take an analytical approach of it, but when Yah says go, you go. When Yah says do this, there's nothing for you to analyze. He's already done all the work. All you have to do is obey it. All you have to do is obey it. but you're bound down by the what ifs. What if I get out there and this happens and that happens? What if you stay where you are? Did you ever consider that? What if you stay where you are and continue to do what you've been doing? Because a lot of people are faced with that now. They've stayed where they are because they were bound by the what ifs, and now they're faced with situations, they're faced with decisions that they can't find a way out. And all this stems from, if you just hadn't made the move when y'all told you to make the move, do you know what your situation would look like right now? But what if? What if this is not y'all telling me? What if this is, all these what ifs? And look at your situation. Is it getting better? Are you learning to live with your shit? Are you learning to be like that? You know how it is. I mean, even babies have common sense. Babies, when they, have a bowel movement in their diaper, it starts, and they don't get it off immediately. It starts burning them. It's uncomfortable to them. But for us adults, we just sit there in a poopy diaper, just burning the shit out of us. We got diaper rash and our skin's peeling off, and we're just cool. Don't have one of those blowout diapers where the poop goes up the diaper and up the back, and we just be walking around with crap on our back, mustard colored poop on our back, just chilling. It's completely normal. We're completely fine with living that way of that way of lifestyle. We are completely fine with it, and we want people to convince us. Hey, I need you to convince me to change my diaper. I need you to convince me to stop living in my shit. If you're burning, if you are uncomfortable, why do you need somebody to convince you to live something different? If you can look at your own life and say, man, my life, I do not like where it's going. Why do you need somebody to convince you to do something different? By the sheer fact that you're miserable or unhappy should tell you. The sheer fact that you can say for yourself, I don't like the path that I'm on. I don't like where my path is going. I don't like what the end result is going to look like. If you can say that, why do you need somebody else to convince you? Why? Because you're always waiting for somebody else to pat you on the back, to tell you it's a good thing, you're always waiting for somebody else. When the book tells us, first we pray to the Most High Yah. Order your steps right according to what He wants you to do. But does that mean that I should get married or I should get a covering? What does the book tell you? What do you see throughout the book? Or does that mean I should leave and come out of her and try to find a half acre or a quarter acre or 100 acres and try to grow my food and live simply and take care of my family and plant gardens and have children? Is that what it means? Is that what the book says? So we've become such a pep talk nation. We need everyone to pep talk us and to psych us into it. And in reality, here's what I think. We want that because if something goes wrong, we want somebody to blame. We want somebody to blame. We want to be able to say, well, I took John's counsel, or I took Ken's counsel, or I took Chris's counsel, and look at my life. It turned out bad. I can blame him. When if you actually heard what was being said, you might have heard, I'm telling you what the Bible says. It's nobody's fault that you're not used to trials and tribulations. And every trial that comes, you make a decision. I'm going to do this thing. There are no what ifs. I'm going to go and do it. The first trial or the first tribulation that comes, this is a sign that y'all doesn't want me to do it anymore. I'm bailing out. I ain't doing it no more. When it says in Sirach chapter 2, my son, when you come to serve Yahweh, prepare your soul for temptation. I would suggest that many of you read Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 2. Type it into your Google browser and read that chapter. Because that chapter may help you actually give you the strength to persevere through situations. When you go and you finally start serving Yah and you say, I'm going to go do this thing. It's in my spirit. Yah's having me go this way. I'm going to go and do it. When you do it, you'll understand. I obeyed the book. I obeyed Yah. And I understand there's going to be some trials and there's going to be some tribulations. But some of you are so Christianized that at the first trial, the first tribulation, the second trial, the third trial, the fifth trial, the fact that you're being tested, you see it as a sign that you shouldn't be doing it. So then the what ifs. And that's why we have a bunch of what ifers and people who live miserable, miserable lives. And they know their life is miserable, but they keep living it because they're comfortable in their misery. They're comfortable living in their shit. So if you're not comfortable living in your shit, and you know that the end result of what you're living is not going to be good, change it now. Because can't you look around the world? Do you think you have all day to figure this out? Or do you think you might want to start figuring shit out right now? Because time is short. And the decisions that you are making or not making right now will have lifelong ramifications and consequences. Just think about it. Sure, what if things go bad? But what if the decision that you're making changes your life for the better? What if? And to be honest, shit, we just gotta stop living in that what if. All you gotta do is open your eyes and see what's happening. And what if you do nothing and you're punished for it? Bless y'all. Hope this answers this question. I'll be back tomorrow with another video to answer more questions. Shalom.